Hi guys, and welcome to a special episode. I had such a good time chatting with the founders from EOS Dev last time, Mr. Torben Anderson and Mr. Brendon Ross, that we decided we were going to do a new series called EOS Rewired, where we're actually going to speak to some of the game-changing apps and developers that are coming up in the space. So I'm really happy to be here today and to continue kind of part of our partnership with EOSphere. Guys, welcome. Of course, we have Dimo today from Infeos. Do you want to just kind of give a brief introduction of who you are, and then maybe we'll kick it off to Dimo to start talking about his project?
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Torben Anderson. I'm one of the co-founders of EOSphere Dev, and I'm super excited about this series, probably around 20 episodes. So we just want to really showcase some of the, the major heroes and game changers on EOS. At the end of the day, unless this blockchain that we're involved in is building and creating new opportunities, then what else is there to do? So we just really want to kind of really showcase and highlight those guys. So really good to be here, and hope you enjoy the show. Brendon?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Brendon Ross here. I'm the other founder of EOSphere Dev, also quite an active member of the EOSphere block producers. I'm really excited about this project from Dimo. Can't stop thinking about it. I was one of the fourth guys into his Telegram channel, and I've just been seeing the sort of flow of some big hitters come in, including NS James. There was a bit of a party when he rocked up. It's going to be definitely a game changer. It lives up to our theme, and I think everyone I've spoken to about it has been excited about what it can do and what it brings. Dimo, you want to introduce it and yourself a bit more?
Absolutely. So my name is Dimo. I'm founder and CEO at Fintech Startup. We are a blockchain outsourcing company, and we outsource blockchain development for Ethereum and EOS. I'm founder at EOS Bulgaria too, and actually I'm one of the lead developers for the Infeos framework, which is, for me, is the next revolution for the EOSL network. Infeos is all about making the development of dApps more easier, faster, and in a straightforward way for developers. And there are a lot of stuff that I really want to share today about the framework, so we're excited.
Right, well, tell us more. Before we dive into that, Dimo, tell us more about how you got started. What brought you into EOS? You're obviously involved in quite a few different things, but tell us a little bit about the story about how you got started.
Well, I'm in the blockchain space since December of 2017. I found about blockchain then, and I think in the beginning of 2018, I started work like Ethereum developer, and I have pretty solid experience as a Ethereum developer. But there is a time, I think it was last year, I think February 2018, when I found out about EOS, and it was really crazy because as a Ethereum developer, there is a lot of things that are really hard to be done on Ethereum. Like, you don't have decimal points, you have a whole new language which is not so developed like C++. And it was just like a law from the first sign with EOS. And it was a matter of time for us to start building something on EOS, or just to enter like really, really deep in the community. So I have already like 2.5 years in the blockchain space, and I believe that this is the technology that is going to change our world forever.
So that's really great. So what you're saying is you've got the experience from the Ethereum side, you've come over to the EOS side, and you can kind of see what those different blockchains offer. Is that right?
Yeah, and one thing I really don't like is that there is still like Ethereum developers that don't like EOS, or there are EOS developers that don't like Ethereum. But for me, each blockchain has its specifics, and for me, it really depends on the business model. It's really depends what the business wants, because there is a lot of ideas where actually Ethereum is really good for them, but when it comes to like performance and free transaction and stuff like that, EOS is the blockchain for that. And I really don't like when somebody says that like Ethereum, we need to use Ethereum for all. That's not true. And I think it's the same for EOS. And I think in the future, we're going to see like a lot of kinds of different blockchains. Like we have the languages right now. We have JavaScript, C#, but we don't use just one language for all the stuff we're doing. So I think we are going to see something like that in the future with the blockchains.
Yeah, that's great. That's why we got you on here. That's exactly, that's something we also, support is what is the best for a particular project? What is best for a particular business model? And it's actually that you understand what each of those blockchains brings to the party, that you can actually say, hey, maybe it's this or maybe that's that. And here you're actually saying the vision is that from different blockchains could participate in future in terms of an overall solution. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I think that I see projects here in Bulgaria which are using because they're building a dApp, one part of the dApp is built on one blockchain, another part is going to be on another blockchain. And it really depends what you need and what you can achieve with the technology that is here.
Yeah, so that's an interesting future. You heard it here first. So yeah, that sounds good. Tell us, again, just before we dive in, tell us just briefly what's the atmosphere like, for example, in Bulgaria around blockchain, just generally? What's it like there?
Well, I think probably we have one of the biggest crypto communities in Europe right now. We have a Facebook group in Bulgaria, which is like over 4,000 people in it. We have a lot of Bulgarian startups that are based on blockchain technology. Most of them are on Ethereum, but I think we are starting to see transition to EOS for some of them, which is like our mission to bring the community here. And yeah, I think Bulgaria is becoming one of the main parts in Europe for blockchain development.
Oh, I'd love to hear more about that, but I know Brendon's also itching about your project. So why don't you tell us more about the specific project that you've now launched within your business and out to the broader community?
Well, yeah, our project is called Infeos, and the whole idea to start developing Infeos is that as Ethereum developers, because I'm EOS developer, but I'm still Ethereum developer, and my reason to start working on Infeos is that for Ethereum, we have Trybe, and it's really easy to develop Ethereum projects fast and easy because you need to learn just a few commands and you just need to know how to write the code. But the problem with EOS was that you have the C++ code, and it's not really hard to write on C++, but it was really hard to set up a new environment to start developing and create accounts and stuff like that are needed for the development. And another big problem was that there were not any tests for the smart contracts. And one of the problems is that, there were some unit tests that you can write for your smart contracts on EOS, but you need to know how to write unit tests on C++, which is really hard. And our idea was to create a framework that can help you write JavaScript unit tests for your smart contracts. And we actually achieved it with Infeos. And at the moment, if you want to start developing on EOS.io, not just EOS or Telos or Wobbly, you need to learn just a few commands, which will help to build and compile the code and to test it. And that's all. I mean, you can set up your environment in less than 5 minutes. And if you already have Docker installed on your computer and all the stuff, like if you have the image for the Docker, you can start developing on EOS in less than a minute for every new project, after the first one.
That actually follows on to our discussion from the last episode, where I mentioned how you don't have to be a full-on blockchain developer to contribute something to the EOS ecosystem. And Dimo's project is really just taking that one step further, where he's built a framework and tool set that just makes it even more easier for a normal front-end web developer to go and say, okay, well, I want to build something, I want to interact with a smart contract, and I want to try build a front end to it or something like that. And they can do that. And as you're saying, they just have to basically learn how to use his tool, which is a couple of lines here and there to spin up stuff, which is really, really fantastic. I was going to ask you to sort of explain the sort of the pain points beforehand and after, and you kind of did touch on that, Dimo. If I can put my sort of spin on it, I remember I competed in the Sydney, Australia EOS hackathon, and the week before that, I was running around building local nodes, practicing how to set up, how to create wallets, how to do this, how to do that, and then I never actually really thought about it, how when you're coding and when you're actually developing and testing, you then need a clean environment, and you have to then kill everything and set it up again. And it's a lot of extra work and stuff. So it's really exciting that you've put this tool out, and it certainly has a great need, and it's going to help a lot of developers. Thanks for that. As I said, I've seen a lot of excitement, and I've gone around specifically asking people what they think about this, and the feedback's been really, really good. So really excited. This may be a little bit of a technical one, not very technical, but I saw, Dimo, that you, because obviously this is an NPM tool, you specifically say supports Windows and Mac, but obviously it supports Linux as well, right? There's no issue with...
One of the reasons was that we wanted to have a Docker program that is going to set up the local node. And we haven't tested on Linux yet, so we didn't want to say that it works on Linux if we haven't tested yet. But I think it might work, because I mean the Docker is like the base is Ubuntu, so probably it is going to work. But we'll probably have say it after we have some tests on Linux too.
It looks like you're getting a decent community. I mean, if you guys aren't aware, so NPM is like an app store for JavaScript frameworks and libraries and tools and stuff. So you can go to this. So Dimo's uploaded his or launched his thing on NPM, and it's got stats and download stats. And I was just looking at it now. It was published 4 days ago. He's already got 183 downloads. So this is when a download doesn't mean someone's just clicking on something. This means someone's actually typing in one of his commands to include Dimo's framework on their machine. And there's a little chart as well, and the chart kind of looks like the EOS price or the whole crypto price.
I really haven't seen the graphic yet, stats, so that's really good news. Yeah.
And it looks good. I see that there's even already been 2 open issues, and Dimo, you've been answering those people. So I expect that, for instance, if a Linux guy comes in and has an issue, they'll probably open a certificate. So that sort of leads me on to one of my other questions was, what is I know you've got a dev sort of company and structure and everything, but what is your sort of plan about keeping this project maintained? Do you have the resources what is your roadmap on looking after this project?
So our idea with Infeos is to create a tool that is going to help the new EOSL developers to start making their entrance in the EOSL world much easier. And another thing is that we are going to see Ethereum developers moving to EOS, and for them it's going to be hard because all Ethereum developers are using Trifle or similar frameworks for that, and they are writing their unit tests on JavaScript. So if you have to be honest, if you're telling an Ethereum developer that he needs to move to EOS and start write unit tests on C++, is going to be like, just, are you kidding me? How am I supposed to do that? And yeah, with that in mind, we already have a lot of features that are coming to Infeos. From the next version, developers are going to be able to switch between different networks just with a simple command. Because we all know that once you have the dApp on EOS.io build, like the smart contract, that dApp can work both on EOS and Telos and Worbly, even that they have some small configuration in each network. So our idea was that once you have the dApp, you're going to be able to change your local node to run on Telos or EOS or Worbly, and you'll be able to test your contracts on the three networks not at the same time, but it's really fast, like just one command and it's already changed.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I'm not sure. Well, actually, I did a little bit of stalking. I saw what other channels you on Telegram you're in, and I noticed that you are in the EOS Studio channel as well. Can you, without bashing other projects and things, because I think what they're doing is also great, but can you explain a bit about the sort of how you guys are different to what EOS Studio is doing, and how, just a little bit of a comparison between EOS Studio.
If I have to be honest, I haven't tested yet EOS Studio, so I'm not pretty sure what they're doing. I know that it's kind of like a Visual Studio Code, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be like a good comparison. Probably, I could say from my side that Infeos is something that probably most of developers are using the terminal, and this is where Infeos come. For EOS Studio, lots of the things there are just like buttons and drop downs. So probably it really depends on the developer what he prefers. So I can't say really much about EOS Studio. So yeah, that's.
No worries. Sorry for putting you on the spot there. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't used their project either. I watched a video on the demoing it, and I just saw there were comparisons, and it looks like they're trying to do something similar. But yeah, they were definitely more of an application where you could launch local nodes and do things like that. Whereas yours, I do like your approach where it's an NPM, it's built into the sort of JavaScript environment.
Sounds like anyone from EOS Studio, if they're listening to this, we'd love to have you on.
Yeah, I did. I have added them onto our list for one, so that's great.
Sorry, just to interject. Here's why I think this is really interesting. We often in the space speak about onboarding users into the ecosphere, but what we don't really realize is that the one thing that really made Ethereum as popular as it was is the fact that it has this incredibly abundant developer community. And I just think that it's kind of interesting that your project is essentially onboarding devs, because without some of these talented developers coming over from Ethereum and trying out the EOS ecosystem, we have no amazing applications. So I just think that it's really cool what you're doing.
Yeah, we believe that, we have the blockchains, but without the dApps, what kind of blockchain is it. But in order to have like dApps and to have really good dApps, we need a fast way to develop the dApps, and we need something that is easy to use, and really like you don't need to know how to create an account on the terminal with a local node if you can do that through the code. And our idea, this is one of the reasons why we have two main configuration files in our framework. One is for the deployment script, and another one is for the node configuration. So basically you have all the functions you need to set up your local nodes, and after each start you can just run the script and everything is going to happen automatically. You don't need to go to terminal and just write all the commands that need to create accounts, import keys, create wallets, then deploy the contracts and stuff like that. Everything is done automatically through the code.
As we've all touched on, this is incredibly important in that something still sticks in my mind from the EOS Sydney hackathon, where someone was doing something. I'm not even sure what they were doing, but they were at the table next door, and the guy popped up and just kind of said loudly, that took me 2 minutes to do, and it would have taken me an hour to do on Ethereum. And that was one of my things where I was like, okay, well, yeah, EOS is a developer-friendly platform. But then we forget about like what Dimo has just mentioned about the testing frameworks, and it maybe there's a lot that is quicker and easier to do on EOS versus on Ethereum. But when you want those quality dApp developers to come over, they're used to that structure of being able to test, robust testing and things. So wherever we can close those gaps or hindrances where a quality Ethereum developer is looking at EOS and just don't want them to have a negative experience at all. So this is really good for the future.
If I have to be honest, I can divide the things into parts. In Ethereum, it's hard to develop the code itself. I mean, it's hard to create like complex and really big structures and actions and stuff like that. In other hands, but you have a really amazing development framework that help you to automate all the stuff and unit tests and stuff like that. This is in Ethereum. In EOS, we have the opposite. We have the protocol itself and the smart contract where you use C++ and you can create really complex dApps and structures and stuff like that you can probably is going to take like just 2 weeks on Ethereum to find out how to create the structure itself. And in the other hand, in EOS, we have the smart contract with the complex structure, but we didn't have till now the framework that could help you to write unit tests to develop way much easier with your local environment. And I think when we combine these two things, this is the moment when we're going to start seeing really big transition to EOS as developers and making new dApps that are going to bring the network as a whole to a whole new level.
At the end of the day, each of these blockchains that are being launched are an entire ecosystem, an entire marketplace, and we don't only need the customers to come to that marketplace, but we also need investment, but we also need the developers to come to that marketplace. And that's just really what we want this series to also be about, is showcasing how we can bring everyone together, but not forgetting the development side as well. We want people to be able to leverage dev agencies and consultancies like that are out there. We want them to be able to easily build stuff, and we want to be able to build stuff fast. We want to be able to leverage the right functionality of EOS and understand what that right functionality looks, and so that sounds really, really good. I guess I wanted to maybe ask one question just to close this topic, and that is, and again, this is not a comment about which blockchain, but I just wondered if you had having been through that journey from Ethereum to EOS, if you had it could be yourself a few years ago, but if you had a legendary, Ethereum developer in front of yourself right now, what would you say to them? What in short would you say to them to I guess convince them that EOS could be the better network?
That's a really hard question. Probably I'm going to say that don't think that everything needs to be decentralized, and always in the first place position the end user and the business, because the end user and the businesses are going to be the people who are going to say which blockchain is going to be the first one to achieve mass adoption.
Yeah, this is again what you were saying is who is this for? What's the project for? What is the end case? What does the user actually want to use it for? What's the business model? What is this really being used for? So, great answer.
If I have to be honest, in a few months from now, I think we are going to really big transition to EOS, and not because that there is like projects and amazing tools built on EOS IO. It's just because the business is going to need that blockchain to bring the things on. To restart doing something, not just like promising stuff. And yeah.
For me, it's really interesting to be a part of all this. Like, I normally do the DApp side and I normally do the end user side, but to have I think what people really need to understand is that it's people like Dimo and of course people like Torben and people like Brendon who are behind the scenes who are actually making this thing move. Without good developers, without creating some of the tools to be able to bridge the gap from existing systems that you're working on, Dimo, to be able to bring them over into EOS, we're not going to have any good applications on EOS. Therefore, there's going to be nothing to use. So it's really cool to be able to sit down with you. It's an honor to be involved in this ongoing series with Brendon and Torben. I think that it's really interesting. I will make sure as well, Dimo, that I post all of your links below for any developers who are interested in kind of finding out some of the tools that you're putting together. I'll make sure that I post your Telegram channel and your website and stuff like that as well.
Just to close, we're just going to ask every one of the guests we have on here, we're just going to ask them one question. What's your kind of EOS price prediction for let's say the end of the year? We might turn this into a competition and we might recognize whoever's the closest, but what would be your, December 31, 2019, what would be your price prediction?
I think I already know the answer. How many months we have till so we have 10 months. For 8 months, we can see what the user network achieves. So after 10 months, I think we are going to see really, how to say it? I think we are going to see not probably the mass adoption of the use, but really close to that. We are at a time where the businesses and a lot of developers are starting to see the potential of use, and it's just a matter of time to start seeing really fast growth of the network itself, even faster than now. So I think we are going to see that in the next few months.
You got to put a number on it, Dimo.
Number. I need to put a.
You can just guess.
Sorry, the price. You're talking about the price, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably $7, but I don't want to be like any investor advice.
It's called a hot seat question for a reason, but we really appreciate you answering it. So thank you.
Dimo, thanks once again for sitting down and joining us. I'm really looking forward to kind of paying attention to the progression of Infeos, and I hope that you can kind of succeed in your mission in between kind of bridging that gap between the blockchain agnostic and bringing some really, really talented developers from other worlds to have a look at what's going on inside of EOS. So thanks so much for sitting down today. Brendon, Torben, pleasure as always. I look forward to the next one, and I hope you guys all have an amazing day.
Thanks. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Bye for now. Bye, Dimo.
Bye-bye.